Hello everyone, here is Afra Sihab. Today we are going to solve Cambridge IGCSE Physics Paper 2 Multiple Choice Extended held on May or June 2020 and paper code is 0625 with variant 22. So let's start from question number 1. Question number 1. 5 athletes P, Q, R, S and T compete in a race. The table shows the finishing times for the athletes. There are 5 athletes P, Q, R, S and T. The finishing time is shown for each of these athletes. Which statement is correct? A. Athlete P won the race and was 0.70 second ahead of the athlete in second place. B. Athlete P won the race and was 1.90 second ahead of the athlete in the second place. C. Athlete S won the race and was 1.30 second ahead of the athlete in the second place. D. Athlete S won the race and was 2.10 second ahead of the athlete in the second place. So first of all, we have to decide that which one of the athlete won the race. So the athlete for which the finishing time is smaller, he won the race, because if the finishing time is smaller, he covered larger distance. So for the athlete P, the finishing time is smaller as compared to all other athletes, so the athlete P won the race. It means that option A and B is correct. Next we have to find out time. In order to calculate the time between the first place and second place, we subtract 23.20 minus 22.50. This is the time at the second place and this is the finishing time at the first place. So this will be equal to 0.70 second. It means that the athlete P won the race and was 0.70 second ahead of the athlete in the second place. So option A is correct from here. Question number 2. A student investigates the motion of a ball rolling down a slope. The diagram shows the speed v of the ball at different times t. First of all, time t is equal to 0 second. Speed is 0 centimeter per second. When t is equal to 0.2 second, speed is 2.8 centimeter per second. When t is equal to 0.4 second, speed is 5.1 centimeter per second. And at t is equal to 0.6 second, speed is 7.0 centimeter per second. It means that the value of speed is not constant and it is increases with the passage of time. Which statement describes the motion of the ball? Option A. The acceleration is not constant. B. Acceleration is negative. C. Speed is decreasing. D. Velocity is constant. So from here, option C and D is incorrect because the speed is not decreasing, it is increasing, and velocity is not constant. Now we check the acceleration. So first of all, I consider time t is equal to 0 second and t is equal to 0.2 second. So the acceleration will be equal to 2.8 minus 0 divided by 0.2 minus 0. It will be equal to 14 centimeter per second square. Now I consider t is equal to 0.2 second and t is equal to 0.4 second. So the acceleration will be equal to 5.1 minus 2.8 divided by 0.4 minus 0.2. So acceleration will be equal to 11.5 centimeter per second square. And at the end, I consider time t is equal to 0.4 second and t is equal to 0.6 second. So acceleration will be equal to 7.0 minus 5.1 divided by 0.6 minus 0.4. So it will be equal to 9.5 centimeter per second square. So we can see from here that the value of acceleration is not constant, it is changing. First of all it is 14, then 11.5 and then 9.5. So from here option A is correct, which shows that acceleration is not constant. Question number 3. Which statement about acceleration is correct? Option A. It is related to the changing speed of an object. B. It is the distance of an object traveled in 1 second. C. It is the force acting on an object divided by the distance it travels in 1 second. D. It is the force acting on an object when it is near to the earth. So first of all, acceleration is basically related to the changing speed of the object. I write here A is equal to delta V over delta T. So option A is correct, that acceleration is related to the changing speed of the object. Question number 4. Which statement correctly describes the effect of placing a heavy load in a car? Option A. It is easier to accelerate the car and easier to bring the car to rest. B. It is easier to accelerate the car but more difficult to bring the car to rest. C. It is more difficult to accelerate the car and more difficult to bring the car to rest. D. It is more difficult to accelerate the car but easier to bring the car to rest. First of all, I suppose that car at this position, and when I place a heavy load in this car, then the mass of the car increases. When the mass increases, it means that this car requires larger force to accelerate. So when we require a larger force, it means that it is more difficult to accelerate the car as well as to stop the car. So from here option C is correct, which shows that it is more difficult to accelerate the car and more difficult to bring the car to rest. Question number 5. A space probe is taken from the Earth to Mars. The force of gravity on the surface of Mars is less than the force of gravity on the surface of the Earth. So, the force of gravity on the surface of Mars is less as compared to force of gravity on the surface of Earth. So here we have to compare the weight and the mass values on the surface of Moon and on the surface of Earth. As it is given that the force of gravity on the surface of Mars is smaller as compared to force of gravity on the surface of Earth. It means that the value of G at the surface of Mars is smaller as compared to value of G on the surface of Earth. We also know that weight is equal to product of mass and G. So, when the value of G on the surface of Mars is smaller, it means that the weight is also smaller here. So, weight at the Mars is smaller as compared to weight on the Earth. It means that weight decreases. But what's about mass? Mass is the intrinsic property of the object. It does not depend upon the value of G. So, the mass remains unchanged. From here, weight on the Mars and mass on the Mars is given. Weight decreases, but mass remains unchanged. So, from here, option B is correct. Question number 6. Water has a density of 1000 kg per meter cube. A rectangular swimming pool has an average depth of 1.6 meter. The length of the pool is 25 meter. The width of the pool is 10 meter. What is the mass of the water in the swimming pool? So here we have to find out the mass of water. So density is equal to mass over volume, and mass is equal to density multiplied by volume. Density is given, which is 1000, multiplied by volume. Volume is basically the product of length, width and depth. So I write here length, width multiplied by depth. It will be equal to 1000 multiply by 25, 10 and 1.6. So mass will be equal to, so from here option C is correct. Question number 7. A satellite orbits the earth at constant speed in a circular orbit. Which statement is correct? A. The resultant force on the satellite is 0. B. The resultant force on the satellite is towards the earth. C. The resultant force on the satellite is away from the earth. D. The resultant force on the satellite is in the direction of motion. So from here, I suppose that when a body moves into the circular path, then there is a force that is acting towards the center of the circle, and this is basically the centripetal force. In our case, the satellite orbits the earth in a circular path. It means that force is towards the earth. So from here, option B is correct, which shows that the resultant force on the satellite is towards the earth. Question number 8. Two forces P and Q act on an object. Which diagram shows the resultant of these two forces? So the forces are added by head to tail rule. Here I consider option A. If I say that Q is the first vector, then the second vector should be at the head of first vector. If this is Q, P should be at this position. But P is given on opposite side, so this diagram is incorrect. Similar reason for the B, that if I consider Q as a first vector, then the P vector will be like this. But P is given on the other side and also the direction of resultant is different. So B is also incorrect. We see the option C. In this option, the vector is split up into its component, which is horizontal and vertical. Horizontal component is Q, while the vertical is P. So option C is correct. And in the option D, the resultant is shown by the opposite direction. So that's why it is incorrect. Question number 9. An object is moving at plus 3.0 meter per second. A force acts on the object. After a time, the object is moving at minus 4.0 meter per second. The mass of the object is 5.0 kilogram. What is the change in momentum of the object? So here we have to find out the change in momentum. Basically, momentum is the product of mass and speed of the object. Change in momentum will be equal to mass and delta V. So delta V is basically V minus U. Mass is given 5.0 kilogram, multiplied by V is minus 4.0 minus, initially body is moving at plus 3.0, so here will be 3.0. 5.0 multiplied by minus 7.0, which is equal to minus 35 kilogram meter per second. So from here, option A is correct. We don't have to ignore the minus sign here. Question number 10. Which energy resource is not renewable? Option A, geothermal. B, nuclear fission. C, solar. D, wind. So the renewable sources are those which can be used again and again. But here, the sources that are not renewable, from which we cannot gain energy again and again. So this is basically the nuclear fission. Question number 11. A car of mass 500 kg is moving at 10 meter per second. The engine does work on the car and the speed of the car increases to 16 meter per second. How much work is done by the engine to increase the speed of the car? So here we have to find out the work done. We are given the mass and change in speed of the body. So all of the kinetic energy is actually appear in the form of work done on the body. So I use here work energy principle, that work is equal to change of kinetic energy of the body. It will be equal to 1 over 2 m v square minus u square, because kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. No, work will be equal to 1 over 2, mass is given 500, multiply by final velocity is 16 square minus initially is 10. So the value of work will be equal to 39,000. The unit of work is joule. So from here option C is correct. Question number 12. The diagram shows a solid block resting on a bench. The dimensions of the block are shown. So first of all, we have a solid block that is resting on the bench and the dimensions are shown, which is 40 centimeter, 20 centimeter and 80 centimeter. On which labeled surface should the block rest to produce the smallest pressure on the bench? So here 3 points are labeled P, Q and R. At which point the pressure is smaller? We check the surface area here, that P contains the largest area, which means that at the P there will be smaller pressure. It means that option A is correct. P has smaller pressure because pressure is inversely proportional to area, and P has larger area due to which it exerts smaller pressure. Question number 13. An object is 60 cm below the surface of the liquid. The pressure due to the liquid at this depth is 9000 Pascal. What is the density of the liquid? So here we have to find out the density. I use here the formula of pressure. P is equal to rho GH. From here, density is equal to P over GH. Pressure is given 9000 divided by the value of G is 10, multiply by height. So first of all, it is given that 60 centimeter. This is actually depth. So we have to convert centimeters into meter. So I write here 60 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.6. So it will be equal to 0.6, so that the value of density comes to be 1500. So from here option C is correct. Question number 14. Which row describes the forces between the molecules and the motion of the molecules in the solid? We know that in the solid, the molecules are very closer to each other. There is very small spacing between these molecules, so they just vibrate. And the forces between these molecules are very stronger. Forces between the molecules are shown, also the motion of the molecules. So forces are stronger and these molecules vibrate only. So from here, option B is correct. Question number 15. Wet cloths are hanging outside to dry. Which condition decreases the rate of evaporation of the water from the cloth? So here, rate of evaporation decreases. How the rate of evaporation decreases? Option A, folded cloths. B, higher temperature. C, wetter cloths. And D, windy day. So from here, the rate of evaporation can be affected by the wind, temperature and area. If the area is larger, then the rate of evaporation will be larger. And if the temperature is higher, rate of evaporation will be higher. Same for the wind. But here, when the cloths are folded, it means that the surface area reduces When the area reduces, then the rate of evaporation also reduces. So from here option A is correct. Question number 13. The diagram shows the liquid in glass thermometer. The design of this thermometer includes the following features. 1. A liquid which expands linearly when it is heated. 2. A glass bulb which has a thick glass wall. 3. A capillary tube with a very small diameter. Which features increases the sensitivity of the thermometer? So here we have to increase the sensitivity of the thermometer. Sensitivity of the liquid in glass thermometer can be increased by decreasing the diameter of the capillary tube and also by increasing the volume and using the alcohol in place of mercury. From here only 3 is correct, which shows that the capillary tube with a very small diameter. So this is basically used for increasing the sensitivity of the thermometer. Option A 1 only, B 1 and 2, C 2 and 3, D 3 only. So from here option D is correct. Question number 17. The diagram shows 4 blocks of steel. The blocks are all drawn to the same scale. The same quantity of the thermal energy is given to each block. Which block shows the greatest rise in temperature? So first of all we have 4 blocks A, B, C and D. We check the volume for each of these blocks. For the block A, the volume is smaller as compared to B, C and D. When the volume is smaller, so that the amount of heat energy transferred to it easily. Therefore, it shows greater rise in temperature. So option A is correct. Due to the smaller volume, it is easier to transfer energy to this block, due to which it shows greater rise in temperature. Question number 18. A room is cooled by a radiator. The diagram X and Y shows 2 possible circulations of the hot air which heat the room. So first of all there are 2 diagrams, diagram X and diagram Y. In the diagram X, the circulation of the hot air is shown. First of all it goes up and then it goes down. In the second diagram, the direction of the circulation of the air is opposite. Which diagram and reason explain the heating of the room by convection? Diagram, reason. Option A, X, air density decreases when air is heated. B, X, air density increases when the air is heated. C, Y, air density decreases when air is heated. Y, air density increases when air is heated. So first of all, radiator is emitting hot air and we know that the hot air is less denser as compared to cold air. I write here the density of hot air is smaller as compared to density of cooled air. Hot air, due to its less density, move above the room. So it is moving above the room like this. When its temperature decreases by interacting with the room air, then it will go down like this. It means that in the diagram X, the circulation of the hot air is correct. So from here, option A is correct, which shows X and air density decreases when air is heated. Question number 19. 2 copper containers P and Q are filled with hot water. The diagram are both drawn to the same scale. So there are 2 containers P and Q and both of these are filled with the hot water. Container P emits more infrared radiation from its surface than container Q. What is the possible reason for this? Option A, the surfaces of P are painted white and the surfaces of Q are painted black. B, the surfaces of P are shiny and the surfaces of Q are dull. C. The surfaces of P have a small area than the surfaces of Q. D. The water in P is hotter than the water in Q. So from here, container P emits more radiation as compared to container Q. So the black color is good absorber as well as good reflector. It is impossible that the black color radiate less energy or heat energy. So option A is incorrect, because here it is given that the surface Q painted black and it emits small infrared radiation as compared to P, which is not possible. B. The surface of the P are shiny and surface of Q are dull. It is also incorrect. Correct answer is D, because the water in the P is hotter as compared to water in the Q. When there is high temperature, the rate of emission of the radiation will be larger. So from here option D is correct. Question number 20. The diagram shows a wave. What are the amplitude and the wavelength of this wave? So here we have to find out the amplitude and wavelength. Amplitude is the maximum distance of a body from the mean line. This dotted line is basically mean line. And the maximum distance of a body from this mean line is basically amplitude. So from here, I draw a line to show the amplitude. This distance that is shown by the arrow, this is basically equal to amplitude, which is given 3 cm. Next we have to find out wavelength. Wavelength is the distance between two consecutive crust or trough. Crust is upper portion while the trough is lower portion. Now I am going to draw the line to show the distance which is equal to wavelength. So this distance is basically equal to wavelength, and this half distance given, which is 4 cm. So from this point to this point total distance is 8 cm. It means that wavelength is 8 cm while the amplitude is 3 cm. So from here option B is correct, where amplitude is 3 cm and the wavelength is 8 cm. Question number 21. The frequency of the microwaves used in the microwave oven is 2400 MHz. What is the wavelength of these microwaves? So here we have to find out the wavelength. V is equal to F lambda and lambda is equal to V over F. The microwaves move with the speed of light, which is 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 divided by frequency is given. It is equal to 2400 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 Hertz. So I write here 2400 into 10 to the power 6. So the value of wavelength will be equal to 0.125 meters. From here option A is correct, which shows that wavelength of these microwaves is 0.125 meters. Question number 22. An object O is placed in front of the plane mirror as shown. So here is a mirror and the object O, it is placed in the front of the mirror. Which row is correct? Position of the image and the nature of image. Option A 1 real, B 1 virtual, C 2 real, D 2 virtual. So first of all, the image formed by the plane mirrors are always virtual, and the location of the image is the same as that of the object location, but in the opposite direction. So if the object is located at this location, then the image will be at the position 1 at the same location but in opposite side. So from here, option B is correct, which shows that the location of image is 1 and the nature of image is virtual. So from here, option B is correct. Question number 23. Which statement is correct? The speed of the light in the glass is equal to the speed of light in vacuum multiplied by the refractive index of the glass. B. The incident angle of the light ray at an air glass boundary is the angle between ray and the glass surface. C. The sine of the critical angle at an air glass surface is equal to 1 over refractive index of the glass. D. The angle of refraction of the light passing through an air glass surface is proportional to the angle of incidence at that surface. So from here, option C is correct, which shows that 1 over n is equal to sine function of critical angle. We also know that refractive index n is equal to C over V, where C is the speed of light in the vacuum and V is the speed of light in any medium. In the option A, it is given that the speed of light in glass, which is n, it is equal to the speed of light in the vacuum, which is C, multiplied by the refractive index. So it is given in the option 1, which is incorrect. Angle of incidence is basically the angle between the incident ray and the normal ray. So B option is also incorrect. Question number 24. An intruder alarm sensor detects that a person is warmer than his surroundings. Which type of the electromagnetic waves does the sensor detect? Infrared, radio, ultraviolet, visible light. So these are the infrared rays that is detected by the intruder alarm sensor. So option A is correct. Question number 25. A dolphin sends out a sound wave and echo returns 0.01 second later from a fish which is 7.5 meters from the dolphin. What is the speed of the sound wave in the water? So here we have to find out the speed of the sound wave. Here is basically the phenomena of echo, that the sound wave goes and then it comes back. So here I use the formula that V is equal to 2D over T. I multiply the distance by the factor of 2 because the sound wave first goes and then come back. So speed will be equal to 2 multiplied by 7.5 divided by time, which is 0.010 second. So that V will be equal to 1500 meter per second. From here, option D is correct. Question number 26. 4 nails A, B, C and D are tested to find which makes the strongest permanent magnet. One of the nails is placed against a bar magnet and the number of paper clips which the nail can support is recorded. So first of all, here is bar magnet and there is also the nail that is attached with the bar magnet. A large number of clips are attached with the nail. The bar magnet is then removed and the number of paper clips remain attached to the nail is recorded. Each nail is tested individually. Which nail becomes the strongest permanent magnet? So which one of the nail becomes the strongest permanent magnet? Number of the paper clips attached to the nail when bar magnet present and when bar magnet is removed. So first of all, more number of the paper clips attached with the nail, stronger will be nail. And here nail is basically used to make the strongest permanent magnet. First of all, I check here that initially when the bar magnet is present, in option A, there are 2 paper clips attached to the nail. And when the bar magnet is removed, 0 paper attached with the nail. It means that here is 0% of the nails remain. In option B, when the bar magnet present, there are two paper clips, but when the bar magnet is removed, there is one paper clip, which means that the 50% of the nails remain. Option C, 4 and 3. It is almost 75%. Option D, 5 and 2. So here 40% of the nails remain. 75% is the largest among all of these. It means that the 75% of the nails are attached even bar magnet is removed. So correct option is C. Question number 27. A student wants to remagnetize a steel bar. He uses the apparatus shown. He switches on the circuit for a few seconds and then switches off. He finds that the steel bar is still magnetized. What should he do to improve his method? So actually he wants to do completely demagnetize the steel bar. But when he switch off, then there is still magnetization. How he can improve the demagnetization? Option A, change the supply from an alternating to direct voltage. B, use a lower alternating voltage. C, remove the steel bar from the coil while the circuit is switched on. D, use a coil that has fewer turns on it. So from here, he can demagnetize by removing the steel bar from the coil while the current is switched on. Option C is correct. Question number 28. A cloth is used to rub an uncharged plastic rod. Both the rod and the cloth becomes charged. Why does the plastic rod become negatively charged and cloth become positively charged? The cloth becomes positively charged because it loses electron. I write here but the plastic rod gains electron due to which it becomes negatively charged. From here, option B is correct, which shows that the rod gains electron but the cloth loses electron. So B option is correct. All other options are incorrect because they show the other statements like the rod may gain electrons and the cloth gains positive charges. So only the correct statement is B. Question number 29. A student uses a circuit shown to determine the resistance of two identical resistors. So here we have two identical resistors. I suppose these resistors as R1 and R2. The voltmeter reading is 2.2 volt and the ammeter reading is 0.25 ampere. What is the resistance of each resistor? So basically here we have to find out the value of R1 and R2. Voltmeter reading is given, which is used to measure the potential difference, and ammeter reading is given, which is used to measure the current. By using Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, I find out the resistance of this whole circuit. So R will be equal to V over I, where V is equal to 2.2 volt and current is equal to 0.25 ampere. So resistance will be equal to 8.8 ohm. This is the resistance of the whole circuit. But we have to find out R1 and R2. As it is given that both of these resistors are identical, so both of these are also in series, and in the series combination the total resistance is obtained by adding the individual resistance. So I write here R is equal to R1 plus R2. I suppose that R1 is equal to R2. It is equal to R prime. So I write here 8.8 is equal to R prime is equal to 8.8 divided by 2, which is 4.4 ohm. It means that resistance R1 and R2 both equal to 4.4 ohms. So from here option C is correct. Question number 30. A cell passes a current of 2.0 ampere in a circuit for 30 seconds. In this time, the cell transfers 120 joule of energy. What is the electromotive force of the cell? So here we have to find out the EMF. I write here EMF is the work done on charges to move across the whole circuit. Here we are given energy, which is actually equal to work, but we have to find out the charge Q. Current and time is given. So I write I is equal to Q over T and Q is equal to I multiplied by T. So I write here W over IT. W is 120 divided by 2.0 and 30 seconds. So the value of EMF will be equal to 2.0 volt. From here option C is correct. Question number 31. The circuit shown contains 5 lamps J, K, L, M and N. All the lamps are glowing. One lamp is removed and the 2 lamps goes out. Which lamps is removed? Option A, lamp J, B, lamp K, C, lamp L and D, lamp M. So first of all, in this diagram we can see that lamp K and N, both of these are parallel, but their parallel combination is in series with the lamp J. Here I draw a diagram for this. Here is J and this lamp is basically the combination of K and N. Now both of these are in series and this series combination is also be parallel to L and M. I also draw here. Here is L and here is M. So, there is no effect in the parallel circuit if one of the bulb removed. But in the series circuit, if one of the lamp is removed, all other goes out. It means that if I consider from here J, K and N, if I remove J, then Kn goes out. It means that K lamp and N, both of these go out. So, from here, option A correct, which shows that when we remove lamp J, then other 2 lamps goes out. So, option A is correct. Question number 32. What is the effective resistance of the following combination of the resistors? So here we have to find out the effective resistance. First of all, we can see here that 6.0 ohm and 8.0 ohm, both of these are in parallel. In the parallel combination, the total resistance is obtained by using the formula 1 over R is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. If I suppose that this is R1 and this is R2. So 1 over R is equal to 1 over 6.0 plus 1 over 8.0, which is equal to 6.0 multiplied by 8.0. So the value of R will be equal to 6.0 multiplied by 8.0 divided by 8.0 plus 6.0. So this R is basically equal to 3.42 ohm. It means that it is 4.0 ohm and this parallel combination is 3.42 ohm. Now both of these are in series combination, so I just add both of these. R prime is equal to R plus, I suppose this is R3. So here is R3, which is 3.42 plus 4.0. So it will be equal to 7.4 ohm. Which means that the total resistance or the effective resistance of this combination is 7.4. So option B is correct. Question number 33. Which symbol represents a NAND gate? NAND gate is basically formed when we apply NOT gate over AND gate. So the symbol for the NAND gate is basically shown by B option. For A, this is basically AND gate. And this bubble sign is actually show that we have applied NOT gate. Option C is NOR gate, while D is NOT gate. So only correct combination is B. Question number 34. Diagram shows a circuit used to switch on a heater when the temperature drops below a certain value. So here is a circuit which is used to switch on heater. Which row shows the component that should be connected at X and Y? So which one of the following components are connected at X and Y in the circuit in order to switch on heater? So from here, at the place of X, we just place resistance, while at the Y, there must be thermistor. So options are X and Y. A is not possible because the arrows shown here, light is falling. So this is basically not thermistor. Option B is correct, which shows that X is resistance while Y is thermistor. Question number 35. The diagram shows the magnetic field due to the current in a solenoid. Where is the magnetic field the strongest? So at which point the magnetic field is strongest? In the solenoid, the magnetic field is strongest where the lines are very closer to each other. So here we can see D. Here is only one single line. So here the magnetic field will be weak. Similar for the B. And here is option C, which shows this region where the lines are closer. So at point C, the magnetic field is stronger. Not at the point A where there is no magnetic field line. Question number 36. A beam of electrons is passed through the magnetic field of a magnet. How must the magnet be positioned to deflect the beam in direction shown? So first of all, in the A, it is given that electron is moving in this direction and it is deflected from left to right. So, which of these shows the correct position of the magnetic field of a magnet? Here I use right hand rule. In this rule, I have to point out the fingers of my right hand in the direction of motion of the electron, means that the direction of velocity. So the electrons are moving in this direction. This is basically the velocity direction, and these are deflected in this direction. This is basically the force. So in the right hand rule, we have to point out our fingers in the direction of velocity and curl in the direction of magnetic field. Then our thumb will point out the direction of force or deflection of the beam. So from here, when I apply right hand rule on the option A, then it is not deflected in this direction that is shown here. So this is incorrect position. Now we see the second one. The electron is moving in this direction but deflected in the same direction. Here the magnetic field is in this direction. So I just move the fingers of my right hand from V towards the magnetic field. Then the thumb points out the right side, which is the direction of deflection of the beam. So from here option B is correct. We can also check C and D. Question number 37. Uranium-235 can undergo nuclear fission in many ways. Which equation correctly shows a possible fission reaction for uranium-235? So which one of these are the fission reaction for the uranium? In the first option A, we see that there is neutron and uranium. So first of all, here we just have to check the atomic number and atomic mass on both sides of this arrow. If I say option A, then atomic number is on the left hand side, it is 0 plus 92. It will be equal to 56 plus 30. So here will be 0, which shows that 92 is equal to 92. Next we check the mass number. So mass number is equal to 1 plus 235, which is equal to 141 plus 92 plus 3. It will be 236 is equal to 236. So here we can see that the atomic number and atomic mass on both sides of this arrow is same, which means that option A is correct. We can also check the other one. For these possibilities, the atomic number and atomic mass on the both sides of this arrow will be changed. So that's why all of the other options are incorrect. Question number 38. A radioactive material has a half-life of 20 days. A sample of material contains 8.0 into 10 की power 10 atoms. How many atomic nuclei have decayed after 60 days? So first of all, I find out the total number of half-lives. It will be equal to total time, which is 60 days, divided by half-life, which is 20 days. So it will be equal to 3. Next, initially the sample contains 8.0 into 10 की power 10 atom. When first half-life pass, then there will be 4.0 into 10 की power 10 atoms. When the second half-life pass, there will be 2.0 into 10 की power 10 atoms. After third half-life, there will be 1.0 into 10 की power 10 atoms. These are undecayed atom, and when we have to find out the decayed atom, it will be 8.0 into 10 की power 10 minus 1.0 into 10 की power 10, which is 7.0 into 10 की power 10 atoms. So from here option D is correct. Question number 39. A thin sheet of paper is placed between a radioactive source and a radiation detector. The count rate falls to very low reading. From this result, which type of radiation is the source emitting? So these are basically the alpha particles which can be stopped by the sheet of paper so that the count rate reduces. From here, option A is correct. Question number 14. Alpha particles, beta particles and gamma rays are emitted via radioactive nuclei when they decay. Which emissions can be deflected by the electric field? Only those emissions can be deflected by the electric field that has charge. Alpha particle is positively charged while the beta particle is negatively charged. So both of these can be deflected by the electric field. So from here option A is correct.